Have stocks become overloved and maybe are ripe for a fall? It's a good question. Let's get some answers. Welcome to Trading Nation. Stacey, Gilbert with Susquehanna and Matt Maley with Miller Tabak. And Matt Maley, this is kind of your thing, which is you're not a market bear, but you think right now we may be a little bit too optimistic. How come?
Well, we just look at some of the data we have on sentiment readings. I mean, the investors' intelligence data is what, 62.7% was the number that came out today, and that makes it 3 weeks out of 4 that it's been over 60%. And it's also we also have 3 times as many bulls as we do have bears, and that's really starting to get extended. But also in the daily sentiment index, which is the DSI data, which they poll futures traders, and that's bullishness is up to 89%. And I've seen it get higher than that. You can get up into the mid-90s, but it's definitely a nosebleed area. And when we got valuations the way they are, even though we've had a nice break out of that range recently, we have valuations where we are, sentiment where it is. I think we need to take a breather here.
How long of a breather and how severe, Matt?
Well, it's always hard to say, but you know, everybody says that the market has to take, everybody wants to buy on weakness, so it won't have any weakness. I'll tell you, I will say that once we finally get a pullback, those algos will turn around very quickly, and those bids will disappear very quickly, and we could see a 5 to 7% correction.
Stacey, Gilbert, you guys at Susquehanna agree that a correction is coming or maybe necessary?
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where we know that this low vol, just creeping higher, continued return environment, it just feels almost unnatural because we like to see a lot of volatility in the marketplace and we're not seeing it. So therefore, it must be overvalued, must be overloved. There must be problems with it. I mean, a couple of things I would say to keep in mind, like we have to think about what time we're looking at here. If we were to look, let's say 3 months out, the probability of a 10% pullback in the market, and by the market I mean the S&P 500, it's basically at the lowest levels that we've seen in 5 years. The market is not anticipating this 10% pullback. It's not anticipating a 5% pullback. Part of that, also keep in mind, we've talked about this before, Brian, is part of that is the broader market. It's not anticipating on the broader market. You're going to have winners and losers. You have correlations, meaning how well these stocks are moving together. In the first percentile over a decade of observation, stocks are not moving together at all. As low as they've been in the last decade, and looking forward 3 months, it's expected to be as low as they will in the next decade. So just kind of putting in perspective, things are all kind of moving and it's not the market as a whole. Another thing I would say that I think people get really nervous about is new highs. So one thing to keep in mind, February 14th, we hit the 6th new high over a 30-day period. Feels like, oh, that must be too toppy. We're due for a pullback. Interestingly, if you look back to 1930, we've seen about 97 different observations where there was a 6th new high in a 30-day period. Looking the 30 days forward, we typically hit more new highs. We were typically higher over the next 30 days. There were less than 15% of those observations that actually had the market down over the next couple of days. So overall, I think, short term, the sentiment is there, and I'm not overly concerned that we're going to get this 5, 7, or even 10% pullback in the shorter term. Longer term, quite honestly, that's dependent on Trump. That's what's driving this market. And if he gets those changes, the market may adjust. If he doesn't get them, then I would agree that's when your pullback comes.
Center of the world is Washington, D.C. right now. I think we can all agree on that. Stacey and Matt, a real pleasure to get your insight as always. Thank you. And folks, thank you for tuning into Trading Nation. We will see you next time.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.